Hey guys, I'm on the road, but I'm trying to get this out to you because many of you have asked me, well, can you give us more updates, like more than one per day, about what's going on? And it is really scary what is going on. So something seems to be developing there. The earthquakes keep coming. So after like yesterday, I'm only giving you the tallest ones over 5.5 followed directly by a 5.8, and there's another 5.0 today. But we've had many others in the high 4 ranges. I'll show you the list here. So it's really concerning. But another fact is the trembling can be felt in the capital city, in Addis Ababa. There's so many reports. People say, my house has been shaking. It's really scared. And they have evacuated more than 80,000 people. So that is a lot, guys, and they're leaving. There's videos surfacing from locals that have filmed the videos. You see them here in the background. They're leaving even with camels, with livestock, with their trucks fully loaded. Some people are walking, some people are on scooters. And why are they leaving? There's something else that has surfaced today. The author of the video is unknown, so it's in the Dofen Fentale volcano area. So we don't know yet what exactly happened there. You see the steam coming out from the hills. So what is it? Did a landslide happen because of these continuous earthquakes? I mean, it's constantly rattling, guys. You have to imagine that. I mean, we're seeing the ones over 4 and 5. That's what the USGS is giving us. That's what they can monitor. But there's no seismic stations or seismic network in place that would catch the smaller ones. So we're probably having thousands of smaller earthquakes. That matches with what people are reporting, that it's a constant shaking. So is it a landslide? Has another fissure opened there? Is this another phreatic explosion / eruption, something that we have seen yesterday? Or is it like fumarolic vents that have opened? Or is it really the start of a fissure eruption? And I said it yesterday, the land is rising underneath the Fentale volcano, in the Fentale volcano area, but also the Dofen volcano is acting up. Fentale has been dormant for 200 years and Dofen has been dormant. So people don't know what they're experiencing here. And you've seen it in the video yesterday where the two people, they're basically running around between these steam explosions that are like shooting out mud and rocks. It's really dangerous, and they're right between them. It seems they're not realizing that right where they stand, more could open up and their lives could be in danger, because this is not something that's happening to them on a regular basis like people in Iceland. They're well trained and educated. They know what's happening, and even they were caught by surprise in Grindavik a year ago when the cracks opened and the eruption started. So slowly, I think the people in Ethiopia are starting to realize what they're dealing with and what they're living on. And I'd like to show you a good video that has come out today that shows what has been going on today at the site of this eruption that showed up yesterday, where mud and rocks and hot steam was explosively thrown out. So if you look at that image, this is in the Sagento Kebele village in Ethiopia. And there you can see this is quite a fissure that has opened up. And so that's why many theories are saying we could see a massive multiple mile long, and I'm not talking about 4 or 5 miles, even longer, could we see a fissure eruption between the Dofen and the Fentale volcano. So nobody knows of yet, but if you look at this video, you see it's still coming out. It hasn't stopped. It's gotten wider. The fissure got longer. There's more fumaroles coming out. There's these hot mud pools further behind. There's rocks coming out, and they have also interviewed a local resident that is basically saying, we have no food, we sent our livestock away because our animals are scared. The animals could be in panic, you know, if they have some herds of sheep, goat, cows, whatever, they could panic, they could run away. So they've taken their animals out of the area. But for my taste, this guy in the interview, he's still standing way too close to this, because you don't know. There could be another sinkhole or another fissure open at any time. And the volcanic gases could be toxic. So what he's saying, we're now waiting to be moved ourselves, but we need transportation. These are poor farmers. They don't have cars or trucks. But we have to say one thing, and we have to get credit to the government, that over 80,000 people have been moved now as a precaution from this area. And I think it's very, very good that this has been initiated at that stage. Guys, we've seen other countries where it's rumbling. They have been way slower than that, although their scientists are calling for at least partial evacuation of the red zones. I'm speaking of Campi Flegrei. I mean, we know when the volcanoes erupted in Iceland, the authorities, the government, they're well trained. They have evacuated, except one tiny little place. They're always lost, but let's not get into this right now. So kudos to that this is happening. So 80,000 people, over 80,000 people are out already of the danger zone. But I really think, I think this guy's right. They need transportation for these rural people, the farmers, the nomads that live in this area. And of course, he's saying we're displaced now. We're facing significant difficulties. We don't even know where we're going. So, because they don't know where is the land rise, where is the area dangerous, where could we see more eruptions. So I think now is the time, urgent, get these rural people help and get them out. Because something is definitely brewing underneath. You can see the hot mud, you can see the steam coming out. So it hasn't weakened since yesterday. It has gotten stronger since yesterday. And that kind of is in line with the earthquakes. They keep coming in the 5 range, right? It's not that we had one isolated magnitude 5 and that was it. They were getting higher yesterday and another 5 today. And the other ones are not far away from that. 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, 4.9, stuff like this. So, and I would like to show you a few comments that viewers have sent underneath my videos, underneath my last videos, and they live in Ethiopia. They live in the capital in Addis Ababa, and they have some questions, and they are also reporting that they have felt these earthquakes. So Girmak, he said, so lady, thank you for your analysis. I live in Addis Ababa. I'm here on your channel because I experienced earthquake that woke me from deep sleep. Yeah, they've been basically shaking continuously. The bottom line, should I have a safety plan? Should I buy canned foods and water bottles in Addis Ababa? Yes or no? And then it goes on. He has been chatting, I think, with another user, and he says, basically, my question to the lady is, the epicenter is over 50 to 100 miles away from Addis capital. Should folks there in Addis be concerned other than the quakes and jolts? Does the lady think buildings are going to fall and infrastructure is damaged in the capital if the volcano erupts? Should folks in Addis be worried and stocking up on supplies? So we have to know both volcanoes, Fentale and Dofen, are located in this region that's called Afar region of Ethiopia within the East African Rift system. So earthquakes, of course, are normal there because 2 continental plates are being torn apart. But both volcanoes are now considered active volcanic areas, and the region is tectonically active, as I just said. So proximity to the capital. Well, Fentale is approximately 130 kilometers away from Addis Ababa. That's 80 miles. Dofen volcano is slightly a little bit further away, 160 kilometers. That's 100 miles northeast of the capital. So what would be the potential hazards from an eruption of one or both of these volcanoes for Addis Ababa? And I think that's the question that my user wants answered. So here it is. You know, we can only just guess and give an estimate. The potential hazards that I see is, of course, the ashfall, right? From that volcanic eruption, depending on the wind, but I'm pretty sure Addis Ababa will see some of that. So if there's a large volcanic eruption that will produce volcanic ash plumes that could be carried by prevailing winds to Addis Ababa. Ash can affect the air quality, so maybe it's good to have a mask at home that can filter that out. It can damage infrastructure, disrupt air travel, and then of course we've got the ground shaking and the earthquakes. And Addis Ababa is a city that not every building is built to any earthquake codes, like any at all. There's many buildings that don't have codes at all. The volcanoes trigger these earthquakes, and of course, yes, there could be structural damage to buildings in Addis Ababa, especially since this rumbling keeps continuing. So gradually over time, vulnerable buildings could be damaged. So I wouldn't rule that out. So wherever you live, if you live in a newer building, maybe you can contact the builder, the company that's built it, and ask. But it might be hard to find that out and get answers. If you live in an older building and use your estimate, does that look structurally sound? Look at the buildings that collapsed. Over 50 homes collapsed already in the region around the volcano. So is your building like that? I think you really have to be on the lookout for yourself and not wait for authorities to give you a plan. Right now, the probability that Addis Ababa will face a huge earthquake that will just wipe out the town or do a lot of damage, that is very, very low. But that continues shaking over time. If these buildings are vulnerable, it could do some damage, structural, foundation, stuff like that. So, okay, volcanic eruptions, they come with lava flow, pyroclastic, density currents and stuff like this. Given the distance that Addis Ababa has from these volcanoes, so direct damage from lava flows or pyroclastic flows is not expected. So these hazards will be confined to areas near the volcanoes. Of course, gas emissions, volcanic gases, sulfur dioxide could impact the air quality. So if you're in a direct proximity, that can be very, very toxic. But usually the concentrations get lower and lower with the distance. So unless there's a particularly large eruption. And of course, we could see, or we are seeing, hydrothermal explosions and ground uplift. So the recent uplift and the earthquake activity give us a strong indication that there is magma underneath and that magma is intruding somewhere, trying to reach the surface. So it is an increased risk of explosive eruptions that could send ash and debris over a larger area. I can say monitor the earthquakes, monitor what's going on. And as of food and water, in my opinion, I would say it is good to have a supply, because let's say, there's already more than 80,000 people on the move, on the evacuation. Let's say there is a larger volcanic eruption and more people are leaving and fleeing in panic. That could have an effect on your ways to get food, supermarket emptied out, depending on where these people are fleeing, supply chain issues, if roads are damaged, if lava flows are flowing over some excess routes, transportation routes, stuff like this. So in my opinion, it doesn't hurt, because you can still eat it and drink it if nothing happens. I would stock up a little bit. Don't be in panic mode and stock to the ceiling, but food and water for 2 weeks, I think it's a good idea. Not because of the direct impact of the earthquakes and the eruption, but we don't know how this affects the supply chain, especially with so many people fleeing to some areas. Another user was reporting today, I'm in Addis Ababa, I'm feeling the increment of the shock day after day. And this is the thing, day after day, it keeps rumbling. Another user, I live in Addis Ababa, and as I was watching this video, we had a vibration of an earthquake again. It's terrifying. Guys, I hear you, and we're with you. We're feeling for you. We're praying for you that this is not escalating any further. But right now, there's no halt to this. It doesn't look too good because these magnitude 5 earthquakes, they keep coming. And during the day, the higher earthquakes, they keep coming. And as I said before, we cannot measure the smaller ones. There's no ring of measuring stations in place in that area. So we're basically relying on what the USGS is able to measure and able to give us in magnitude. So we see the big ones, but as you guys are reporting from Addis Ababa, further away, right? They basically feel it continuously shaking. That means we probably have way more earthquakes than we officially see in the lists. And interesting, in my opinion, we have heard from Atalay Ayele, I hope I pronounced this right. He's the head of the seismology department and a professor of seismic science at the Addis Ababa University. And he has given us information about the epicenter. And he says the epicenter was in the middle of the Dofen mountain. So the Dofen volcano, that's still the Awash Fentale district in the Afar region. But should we shift our focus more towards the Dofen volcano is now the question. Also, what he confirmed is these events are increasing in size and in frequency from time to time, and especially this week when we had the 5.8 just yesterday. And especially residents that live in the capital in like condos and high-rise buildings, they felt the shaking. So what they're reporting is, and how they're calling this, like these frequent quakes have created like a natural hot spring water crater that is reportedly widening. So is that what it is? Interesting description. And then there's these vents at the Dofen volcano that were opening up yesterday, and they were sparking fears that we could see an eruption of the Dofen volcano. The government is now saying, and that's a good thing, thankfully, that they're closely monitoring the events and that they're having experts in the field. So thumbs up for that. And also, they have identified the epicenter of that 5.8 magnitude earthquake and have deployed emergency workers from various fields in 12 districts to assess the extent of the damage that this earthquake has caused. We know over 50 homes have collapsed, but it has probably done more damage to infrastructure. That's a statement from the Ethiopian government. So we have more reports from residents, how they felt the earthquakes and what they said. So one resident said, I was sleeping on the floor with my child. I felt the earth beneath me shaking. The shock displaced the glass on my door. And another one saying the shock lasted nearly 1 minute and it was greater, and that's the important thing, greater than the previous shock reported in the area in October. Another resident that lives in the Fentale district said a strong earthquake shock was felt in his town, and now residents are sleeping outside of their homes because they are afraid. Another resident who lives near the German square in Addis Ababa said the earthquakes have been frequent this week. And that's what we hear from everybody. Another report, the shock of the earthquake has been common during the past 5 days. Saturday morning, it was really quite strong. It happened around 4 a.m. local time. That was probably another 5, the 5.0. And the resident says, I was awakened from sleeping by that shock. The government is saying the earthquakes so far have not yet, and they're saying not yet, had a significant impact on major towns, but they're urging their citizens, if I'm shaking here, it's a storm outside, it's really heavy. They're urging their citizens to follow and strictly implement the precautionary measures that are issued by the experts. And overall, what are Ethiopian experts saying about the vulnerability of Ethiopian towns and cities to earthquakes? And I'm getting back to the question that my users asked. So guys, here's another answer. So according to experts in Ethiopia, they're warning that many buildings all over the country, particularly in Addis Ababa, and that's where my viewers that ask the question are living are highly vulnerable to earthquakes. That's what these experts are saying. So, for example, an associate professor of civil and environmental engineering at the Addis Ababa University at the Institute of Technology said that Ethiopia introduced building code standards in 1983 that need updating every 10 to 20 years. And the next update is scheduled this year. So they probably have to factor in this new volcanic activity from two dormant volcanoes. So, but what they're saying is, despite these updates, significant gaps persist in adherence to the standards during building design and construction. So, but guys, this is not only an Ethiopian problem. Maybe you have seen my video about the capital of British Columbia in Canada, Victoria. There's so many buildings that will collapse if there's a big earthquake. Check out that video, guys. It's mind-blowing. So it's not only there, it's basically all over the place. That's for Portland, downtown Vancouver. There's old buildings, brick buildings that could collapse. So the university has evaluated many buildings in Addis Ababa, and they say they reveal design faults due to non-compliance with the standards. Although the standards are in place, it's just non-compliant. People just built different. And additionally, and that's another problem, construction materials and workmanship often fall short of the required quality levels, which also makes the building vulnerable. So they say most buildings in Addis Ababa exhibit these deficiencies, compromising their safety and quality. So to my two viewers, if you live not on ground level in a high-rise or multi-story building, be aware. What I would do, but you never know if that is possible, if you have to go to work or whatever. Do you have some relatives outside of the city in like homes that are safer? Maybe go there and wait what's going to happen the next few weeks. But technically, is that possible? In most cases, no. So there's no reason to panic in Addis Ababa. But what this professor is saying, that the recent frequent earthquakes are a sign that we are living in a volcanic active area, and that the state should be careful building infrastructure in these places. We've heard about the Kessen Dam that could be affected by higher earthquakes, but also that, and now it's starting again, guys. No, I'm not working for the Egyptian government. The Grand Renaissance Dam. The two countries are fighting over that dam. Maybe I should make a video about this, because it seems like that I have like put my finger into a hornet's nest there. So Egyptians, calm down. I haven't even voiced an opinion for you or for the other country. I'm just saying that dam is there. And experts are saying if we see a magnitude 6 earthquake or higher or something in that range, could be critical for that dam. And now we've had yesterday a 5.8, guys. That's why I am mentioning it. So scientists and professors saying, be careful with where you build the infrastructure. And also he says we should have our relief agencies on standby right now. And also the public must be made aware at a way higher rate regarding these earthquakes. Now we're talking Addis Ababa, right? In the direct proximity, it's not only earthquakes, it's the volcanoes. The government engineers are saying that there's plans underway to reinforce major public buildings to withstand high magnitude earthquakes, but that doesn't help them right now, should there be another development. As I said earlier, there is the engineering director of the Ethiopian Construction Authority, who has also said that there's growing concerns over the increasing frequency of earthquakes, because this puts constant stress on the buildings. And he says we have to address the emerging risks. The government has established a task force to study the situation and to monitor incidents closely. So again, it seems many buildings in Addis Ababa are vulnerable. So if you have a supply of food and water, make sure it's somewhere where that is accessible to you should a building collapse. And of course, you should not be in that building if it collapses. So have sort of an emergency plan in place regarding earthquakes. So yeah, guys, I will keep you updated about this evolving situation. It doesn't look like that this was it. It looks like there's more to come. Good thing is people are getting to safety, and let's hope that there's enough time to get everyone to safety. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want more updates about this and you're new here, please subscribe, join my channel, and if you want, join our membership level, our nice group of members there for more behind the scene videos if you like. And if you would like to support this channel, please go to my buymeacoffee.com /silky. The link is in the description. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, I hope to see you again very soon. Hopefully good news, not more bad stuff coming from Ethiopia. If you're interested in volcanoes and earthquakes and landslide and all that stuff, check out the videos in my end screen. There's a lot of stuff going on. We have Campi Flegrei in Italy near Naples, Iceland, the volcano's getting ready for the next eruption, and it's rumbling all over the place. So browse through my channel, through my playlists, and if you want to know what I'm doing with the coffees that you guys keep buying me on my buymeacoffee.com site and the supers that you're giving me here, check out my playlist, RV trip to save my dog's life. That's why I am in an RV currently. It is what it is, guys. It's raining like crazy outside. Really storm going on. I feel like I'm on a boat, carrier bag. I'm pointing out to you because you live on a boat. So it really feels like I'm sailing. But yeah, I hope I won't be flipped over or be blown away. So hopefully you'll hear from me very, very soon. And for my members, check the membership playlist. I'm releasing new videos every day. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.